Past players, past legends, past legends.
How does it vary with corporations, say that, to a sporting environment?
And a semi-professional sporting environment.
It's very. I find it really challenging in the semi-professional sporting environment because these guys and girls that we work with they're working full time or they're studying full time, or they're doing a combination of both of those things, and then they come to training, and normally they're doing it. They're doing a large amount of it for love. They're not getting paid a lot of money.
Yep.
And the expectations are that, they have the fitness and the skill set that some of the professional athletes do. And then all of a sudden you're going to roll into a meeting at 7:30 at night to talk about leadership and culture. It's pretty hard. I don't reckon I've found the perfect way to do that yet at semi-professional level. I've got some involvement out with the North Adelaide Footy Club, and we're still sort of working out what's the best way to do this. So we're not asking for people's, often we ask for your best thinking at the worst time of the day.
Yeah.
So still grappling a little bit with the best way to do it with the sports teams. But I think, in regards
and I don't reckon there's an easy answer there, Krieg.
Nah.
No, because each individual's individual and you're trying to fit them into a team
It's also the work
environment.
The life situations. Look, I ran into Mitch Krieg. When I was working for the union, servo at 9 o'clock at night, and Griggy walked in and I said, "What the hell are you doing?" He said, "I'm not home from training yet, from bloody meetings."
Yeah.
And I actually straight away replied and said, "You're not playing league footy next year, are you?" And he said, "No."
Yeah. There's a fair bit asked of them, as semi-professional athletes. So I'm conscious of that because I suppose I can speak with some level of understanding because I've been in that position myself. And I spent a period of time as a deputy vice captain at North, so I know what the extra commitments can look like. And then you got to go home and you got your family duties that you need to take care of. So there's a lot of things to juggle. So I think probably the way we'll tackle it this year is we'll do a lot of heavy lifting over the off season, and we'll try and front load it as much we possibly can through that off season, pre-season, and then you just sort of smaller touch points throughout the season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yep. And what about from a corporate point of view?
Yeah, what I find is that we've sort of put together a bit of a process. I suppose because I come from an education background, I suppose you could call it a bit of a curriculum for what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And the work that we do is based on principles or known principles of success in this domain. So what that means is the things that we're sort of working with people and teams and leaders on, they're transferable across any industry. So whilst there's some nuance and there's some, obviously you want to make the work as contextually specific as possible within the different work environments, the principles are the principles. They remain the same. So, for example, in any organisation, no one ever argues that the concept to understand and take deliberate action around is that belonging actually precedes performance. So we can't wait for someone to perform and then we offer them belonging. We create an environment or we create conditions where people feel like they belong and then we watch them flourish. And that's true in any organisation. We talk a lot about ongoing culturing. Rather than using culture as a word, we use culturing to, I suppose, amplify the importance of the infinite nature of engaging in the ongoing culture of an organisation. So that holds true across any industry. So a lot of the work we do, the principles, by definition, the word principle means it doesn't care if you like it or not. This is true, and this is a good thing to do. So it works across all those different industries.
And individuals? Do you work with many individuals?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're doing more and more in that space. To be honest, so I'm an accredited human synergistics leadership coach, and
sounds good,
Sarah Sutter, you might know Sarah Sutter as well. So Sarah does some work.
Goalkeeper.
She does some, yep. So I would consider her a mentor and a wonderful friend, and she's accredited human synergistics as well. So she does a lot of that stuff on our behalf for Driven From Within. But we are sort of getting asked to do more of the one-on-one stuff, which I'm really actually enjoying as well.
Bit different as well. Now, an area which fascinates me is the APY lands. Now, they've been lucky enough to umpire them a little bit in terms of Sapsaza. And Pete, you want to come down and have a look one day just to that. They kick a goal and all do cartwheels. It's hilarious. It's huge. But it was also fascinating because a kid who I have enormous respect for, Sam Breslau, was coach. Now, Sam was considered that he was going to be a top 10 draft choice, and he obliterated his knee and didn't get picked up, and went back and finished his teaching degree and then specialised there. And because I knew Sam, I was allowed in their tent and that. And it was just fascinating to hear there was Sam, no, you eat crap, you're not playing, you sit down, just having to do extra things which, unless I'd been in there, I wouldn't have even have realised about the eating habits, and big part of why the development's not quite as much in terms of size. So it was fascinating to observe, and as I said, he's a kid I respect enormously. So I'd love to hear about your experiences there with the AP Wildlands, mate.
Yeah, it is. It is fascinating. I actually just got back from a 2-week stint up in the AP Island. So that's probably, I reckon, to be fair, that's probably the most rewarding work that we do. We've been lucky enough now to be involved in what they call the Unanu Lands Partnership for going on 3 years now. And we work broadly across the whole partnership. So there's actually 10 schools out there, and we work broadly across what they call that whole partnership. So the work there involves working with the what they call the LET team, the principals, but the biggest piece of the work is working with the Unanu coordinators. Yep. So they're the Indigenous sort of coordinators and leaders at the school. So we've been working with them. We catch up with them probably 10 days every year, and it's ongoing leadership coaching, I suppose, ongoing capacity building. But look, I'd be lying if I said they've taught me more than I could ever hope to give back in return. Yeah. Some of their lessons, not that they're deliberately saying, here, you need to listen to this, Matt, but some of the gifts of learning, the observations that I've had of those guys, like it's been wonderful. It's our most treasured partnership is the work that we do with the Unanu Lands team. The guys we've been working with actually just been nominated for a big education award next week. So they're one of 3 finalists that have been nominated for that award. So they're very proud of themselves at the moment, as they should be. So no, it's great, mate. We started a couple of years ago. We had 4 Unanu coordinators come down to Adelaide and spend a couple of days with me. And I've got to admit, I've never been so sort of scared and anxious and nervous in my life. I had no idea how things were going to evolve. English is not necessarily the first language for everybody, and I'm not a fluent speaker of Pitjantjatjara. But what we did do is we unapologetically just invested into each other in terms of connection, and we basically didn't do anything else for the first 18 months. We just shared stories. Yep. We connected. We showed photos. We spent time together. They took me out on country. We spent time on country together. And the connection's at a point now where we can actually now start to influence each other positively. So we started with 4. We're now getting, in the last time I was up there, we had 15, 16, 17 coordinators in the room, which is just a tremendous result.
And how many kids roughly would you therefore be dealing with across that whole area?
Yeah, so so my work's not with the students. My work's with the staff. Yeah. So the school leaders, the principals, and the Unanu coordinators. But each of the schools there have got, depending on the size of the community, different levels of enrolment. So, we're talking anywhere from 3 kids in a school. So there's a little school called Morpeth, which has got about 3 or 4 or 5 kids. And Joseph is the Unanu coordinator at Morpeth, and they're all his kids. Right. And then probably the biggest school is Ernabella and Armada, which I think featured on the news tonight. I think Jason Horn-Francis has just been up for visiting Armada. They're getting regular attendance anywhere between sort of 60 and 80, I reckon. So, it would just depend. Sometimes if there's sorry business on, or if there's men's business on, it's quite transient. They might, a family might go and stay in another community for quite a period of time, and the kids might go to that school instead of, the community which they're from.
It's just again totally different.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. And the teachers out there they just do if ever you want a recalibration of perspective, I work with a lot of schools and a lot of teachers, and you hear some of the things that sort of grind their gears a little bit, and just sometimes in the back of my mind, I've gone, gee, some of the stuff that I see, when we visit the schools in the AP Islands, the amount of work they have to do before they even get to teaching and learning is unbelievable. Yeah.
It would be,
It's a challenge in itself, isn't it?
challenging. Just trying to think of the correct wording. Educational, not using the word as education as in school education, but just a whole different perspective, probably.
Eye-opening.
Eye-opening perspective,
yeah.
all along those lines.
Yeah, I think, look, the way I describe my first visit up, I think initially I was just in shock. You see things on TV, but seeing with your own eyes is another. Seeing is believing, and to be there and to see the first time I went up, I think I was in a bit of shock initially that this is in South Australia.
Yeah.
This is not another world. This is in South Australia. But yeah, you get to know the people, you get to know the communities. There's just some of the most beautiful people I've met are up in those communities.
Of course, you've also been around the coaching traps too.
Yep.
Things like, and it was an interesting comment where you really gave Burwood a really big rap overall. Of course, you've been Gazer. I'm trying to think where else you've been. Around the traps in general, Craigie.
Central's under 18s.
Yeah, Central's juniors.
Yeah. So I had a couple of years. Had a couple of years at Central's under 18s. Did 3 years there. Had a stint at United Footy Club in the Adelaide Plains Footy League. Had a couple of years at Gazer, and then I had 4 years at Birdwood directly after league footy, and thoroughly enjoyed that experience. That was one of my most enjoyable sort of footy experiences. Those 4 years, 1 year as a player, and then 3 years as a playing coach.
Yeah.
Is it just the relaxed atmosphere and just generally everybody's pretty supportive and that whole club environment rather than, say, an SNFL club where there is KPIs and, you got to meet these requirements and bits and pieces like that?
I reckon that was certainly part of it. Yeah. There's probably a few things when you have a think about it and reflect. It was a whole day out for the family.
Yes.
And that's not that SNFL footy is not that, but my whole family were embraced by the club. Obviously, it's a smaller community, so the kids, it's the sort of, you arrive at the footy and you pick your kid up at the end of the day under the pool table sort of thing. But that's okay because everybody's looking after everybody's kids.
Yeah.
So there's that feeling about it. And I think the other thing you mentioned there, KPI, I just thoroughly enjoyed not running to a time clock. Just not having the expectation of having to do 5 1K repeats under 3 minutes 15 or whatever was just that. Once that weight had lifted off my shoulders from an SNFL point of view, I thoroughly enjoyed that aspect of it as well. I was probably always a bit edgy at SNFL, always worrying about, will I get picked next week? And if I don't do this, I'm not going to get picked. And that was when I finally retired, that there was a big sort of weight I felt lift off the shoulders, and I just sort of, you can only connect these dots looking back, of course, can't you?
Yeah. Yes.
But it just felt like I was just much more relaxed.
And do you feel you've used that sort of experience there with the overall bit in your work now? And just how does that fit in? So you're trying to use the overall learnings perspective and sort of away from the rat race of league football to some extent.
Yeah, 100%. I try and stay really calm. Try and seek perspective all of the time. I was probably my wife would definitely tell you I was a very selfish league footballer. And that came from good intent. I was always of the feeling if I don't do everything 100% right, then I don't get to play.
Yeah.
And I was all in on the goal of obviously playing in a premiership and playing 100 games of league footy was I was not stopping until that happened. But at an unhealthy, obsessive level at times. And then I think even once I ticked that goal of 100 games off, I think that probably fast forwarded my decision to, retire halfway through the following season as well. Because I think I was so mentally and physically burnt from everything that I felt like I had to do to achieve that it sort of started to take a bit of a toll. So yeah, some of those learnings definitely carry on into the work world now.
What would your advice be to someone who is probably in that same mindset of 100% going at one goal without really much thought of anything else? What's your sort of key points there?
I reckon. I think it's for me. Again, you only join these dots looking backwards, with a bit more wisdom. I think my identity as a person was only tied up into football. If I wasn't Matt the footballer, then I didn't know who I was. So that I think having some identity outside of just a sport or just whatever your area of passion is healthy, and seeking perspective. I mean, I got myself so wound up at one stage.
Too intense for your own good, Craigie. Yeah.
Yeah. And the sports site just said to me, if you don't play 100 games, what's going to happen? And I said, nothing. And that's all I needed. I just needed someone to say, nothing, mate, nothing. Life will go on. Okay. But yeah, so don't take it so seriously, I think, as well.
Fair call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look, it's fascinating what you're doing. Eagerly look forward to catching up with you and that. So you have got home from your son's premiership and that, Craigie. I reckon there's a few of the parents were probably going to, as you and I was talking that day, were fair chance that a few of the parents were going to celebrate that reasonably hard.
We went back to the club, and I wasn't the last one to leave, so I'm not sure how it all ended up.
I was pretty confident that you wouldn't have been last, Craig. No.
But the celebrations will continue this weekend, mate. I think the boys have got a halftime, some sort of engagement at halftime of the league grand final, so that'll be lovely for them to experience.
Yep.
Getting onto Adelaide Oval at halftime of the league grand final. We went and had a look at the prelim. We watch quite a few SNFL games. I had such good experiences as a kid going to SNFL games, watching my uncle play. I've still got memories of watching my uncle play. And
uncle.
To be honest, I never watched much of the game. I only ever came out. I used to play with the Cochrane boys down at Elizabeth Oval there, and really only ever came out from behind the hill to watch the mini league. To be honest, that was our highlight, to come and watch the kids. And that's why we dreamed about playing mini league.
Yeah.
So I'm a massive fan of the SNFL. So I want my kids to experience that too.
I wish there was a lot more parents with that sort of thought. Bugger being past player, I just wish there were more parents who had that thought. Yeah. Like you do a kids coaching clinic, I've got one in a few weeks. I'll tell you now, there'll be 80 kids there, and you'll be lucky if there's 2 in SNFL gear. So it's a bit depressing in that regard. So.
I know, mate. I remember back to when I was a kid. I reckon I had pencil cases of every club.
Yeah.
Yep.
It just and I could have named you most players of every team as well. It's just, it's not like that anymore, is it?
No, we've
lost back that connection.
Pie and pasty nights. The league clubs have got to, I think, one, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place with AFL, and everyone follows the AFL of that age group. And then they play at their community club. Well, I think the SNFL clubs have got to be smarter and work harder within their zone. So.
Yeah,
I've had that thought process for a long time. So,
yeah.
Hey, Craigie, greatly appreciated, mate.
Thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks very much, boys.
Thank you, read the book. Hopefully, your old man enjoyed it. At least there was a photo of him in it. So, yes.
That's it.
Yes,
Beautiful. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
No
Thanks,
worries.
Craigie.
Last thing before you go, mate, just give a shout out for your business there, and we'd certainly help you promote it.
Yep, go, mate.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Driven From Within's a business, www.drivenfromwithin.com.au. Anything to do with leadership, intentional building of team, and ongoing organisational culturing is what we do. So, we'd love to hear from anyone that's interested.
Perfect.
All the best, Craigie. Thanks,
Wonderful.
mate.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate.
See ya.
Thanks, Craigie.
Liking this podcast? Please like, rate, and subscribe.